Boy, that felt like last season all over again. You guys, the Tar Heels are broken.
This is Tyler Zeller, and you're listening to Locked On Tar Heels.
You are Locked On Tar Heels, your daily podcast on the UNC Tar Heels. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Oh boy, hey there, it's Saturday, January 17th, 2026. Welcome into the Locked On Tar Heels podcast, this live postcast edition. It's the only daily North Carolina show out there. I'm your host, Isaac Schade. You're joining me at the place to get your Tar Heels content every single day. It's all part of the Locked On Network. Now the number one sports podcast network out there. Thanks for making us your first listener watch. Welcome in all you everydayers, all the members of the Locked On Tar Heels Discord, and our insiders as well. Oh, this episode is brought to you by FanDuel. The college football playoff is here. The national championship is Monday night, and FanDuel is the best place to get into the action all playoff long. Visit FanDuel.com to get your college football playoff profit boosts every game day. You guys, therapy session is not a strong enough word for what needs to happen today. Oh my goodness. North Carolina with an atrociously pitiful embarrassment of a performance. Comeback or not, there are no moral victories here. This was bad. Carolina loses at Cal 84-78. Their record on the season falls to 14-4. They are now 2-3 in ACC play, have lost 3 of their last 4, all on the road at the 3 brand new ACC schools. Let's vote them right back out after the 13-1 start to the season for the Tar Heels. Carolina falls to 36th at KenPom, 36th in offensive efficiency, all the way down to 52nd in defensive efficiency. Carolina is going to fall all the way from 14th in the AP poll. They should not be ranked when Monday rolls around. I'm very curious to see what happens there, but there is no excuse, no reason for that to happen. That's what we should see. For those of you who are new to our live postcast, welcome in. So glad that you're here. We're going to talk about the nitty-gritty of this game. We'll go big picture on it. We will get to some comments. Undoubtedly, I can imagine there is already a litany of fire Hubert Davis comments, because that's what we see after every loss, but especially right now as things are going awry. Here's where we're going to start. This game felt like last season all over again. Did you feel that? Carolina gets down big in the first half, as many as 19, which at that point was the highest deficit, the biggest deficit of the season. The halftime, thanks to a little Derek Dixon, nice little layup right before the halftime buzzer, was down 17. Cal pushes it out to as many as 20 early in the second half, a season high. Carolina, this is what's crazy. With 8 minutes and 10 seconds left to go, 8-10 left in this basketball game, less than a quarter of the game left, the Tar Heels are down by 19. And at 55-74. From that moment until there is 2 minutes and 52 seconds left, Carolina goes on an 18-3 run to cut the deficit all the way to 4 at 73-77. From there, the teams trade baskets. Carolina gets a stop. They've got a couple nice defensive possessions. They have the ball down 4 with 1:24 to go. Again, I tell you, just 7 minutes earlier, they were down 19. But for some reason, they've done all this to get back in the game, and then they're not getting the right guys' shots. You see a Seth Trimble 3 from that possession. Was it that one, or was that his floater in the lane that he missed? Anyway, Carolina doesn't score there, and they never get as close as 4 again. Actually, I checked that. The Henry Vasar 3 makes it 81-78. So Carolina does get a little bit closer with 18 seconds left, but they can't after that. Stanford makes their free throws on this occasion, and that's it, and that's all. But right, doesn't that feel like exactly what would happen last year? Carolina would get down big, massive, have a furious comeback, but it's too little too late. They fall short, and it doesn't matter. I don't care if you come back. You should have never been in that position in the first place. So, yay, congratulations, nice comeback, but it doesn't matter. It's a loss. Whether you lose by 3 or 87, it's a loss. And Carolina goes 0-2 in this California road trip, Wow, that's gross. This was the biggest deficit of the season. Previously, Carolina had been down by as many as 16, both in the SMU and Michigan State games. Now have been down by 20 is what happened. And the culprit, yet again, there are two main ones that I want to identify, but the key of which is the defense. This might be the most confounding thing I've ever seen. This team, which was one of the top defenses in the nation by analytics, by statistics, through the first 14 games of the season. So through the non-conference play and the Florida State game that kicked off ACC play, Carolina was looking like they were in great shape. And then you come to today, where Carolina in the first half of this basketball game allows 54 points per ESPN. That was the most points Carolina had given up in any half against an ACC opponent since 2008. What? Which is kind of weird to think about because that was a phenomenal basketball team. But that aside, 54 points allowed in the first half as Cal shoots 55.9% from the field and 62.5% from three. They were 10 of 16. For the game, Cal shot exactly 50% from the field and 53.8% from three. Whatever has happened with this defense is atrocious. In the first half of this game, Cal was just taking wide open three after wide open three after wide open three, and they were absolutely canning them. I was curious to see, because Carolina in non-conference play, those first 13 games, allowed just two teams to make double-digit threes. That was Kansas, that was USC Upstate. Now they've played 5 ACC games. All 5 opponents have made not just double digits, but 12 or more threes. Florida State made 12. SMU made 14. Wake Forest made 14. Stanford made 16. And then today, Cal made 14. That is insanity. And any mystery about if Cal was going to get to double-digit threes was taken away because they made 10 in the first half of this basketball game. Yes, you heard me right. Cal was 10 of 16 from three in the first half. You got dudes out here for the Golden Bears that have not made a three all season long, just canning them. There was another guy, I think 2 different Cal Bears made their first three of the season, and another dude made just his second three of the season. What are we doing? In classic Isaac Schade questioning fashion. Another thing that you know to be true, in the first 14 games of the season, so non-con play in Florida State, Carolina held every opponent under 75 points. Since then, the most recent 4 opponents, so SMU, Wake, Stanford, Cal, many of whom, SMU is a great offensive team. The other 3, what? No, come on. Gross. All 4 of those opponents have scored at least 84 points on the Tar Heels. So it's not just like, oh, they gave up 75 for the first time and it was a team that scored like 76 or 77. No. Teams have blown right past that 74-point marker. Good grief. SMU 97, Wake Forest 84, Stanford 95, and today Cal 84 points. And that was while they went completely cold for that stretch in that 6 minutes or whatever, while Carolina went on that 18-3 run. If this defense does not get things, just communication and recovery and sagging off and drop coverage, all of it looks awful. Now, it's funny because you saw this team start to in desperation, go to some 2-3 zone. In desperation, you saw them go to some 1-2-1-1 trap stuff, and they were very successful. Carolina ends up forcing, 10 steals in this game? 10 steals in this game. Cal ends up committing 13 total turnovers. And so maybe that's part of the answer. Maybe Carolina, similar to what Duke has had to do some this season, just needs to go zone. But you know what the issue was there? I don't think they should, because in the first half when Carolina was 2-3 zone, that led to some of Cal's most wide open threes of the game, because the the baseline tenets of a 2-3 zone were not there. Carolina, like, yes, I know a zone leaves you susceptible to threes, but Carolina's communication and their ability to cover on the perimeter with that left multiple wide open wing 3 shots. And it just Cal just canning them. Absurd stuff. Bring out, like, tear down every rim on campus. It's absurd. It's absolutely absurd. Well, defense was not the only plague on North Carolina in this game. There's another plague that Carolina has been suffering season long that reared its ugly head yet again. Another thing that reared its ugly head yet again, why isn't Caleb Wilson getting more field goal attempts? This is now a multi-game issue. We'll talk about that coming up in just a second. Right after I tell you about FanDuel, college football playoff is here. The national championship game is about 48 hours away, and FanDuel is giving all customers even more ways to get in on the action on Monday night. Because right now, for every one of the college football playoff game days, FanDuel is giving users a profit boost that's waiting for you right there in the app. That'll be there Monday. Here's what I love about it. You can use this profit boost on bets, wagers, lines that you are already going to make anyway. Perhaps you want to roll with the favorite Indiana Hoosiers, who are 8.5-point favorites over Miami. Or maybe you think Miami's going to keep on rolling. They're a team of destiny. You can feel that upset coming. Go ahead, get in on that. Or you could build a parlay around the players, the moments that you think are going to define the outcome of the championship game. And then you simply apply that profit boost that's there in the app and go after even bigger winnings. And when you do, FanDuel is going to pay out instantly. How about some Wooden Award odds for college basketball? Cam Boozer at Duke leads the way at -220 at FanDuel. AJ DeBonsa at BYU +390. Braden Smith and Josh Jefferson at Purdue and Iowa State tied at +1400. And then comes our guy Caleb Wilson at +2500. Check out that line or the line for the national championship game, where FanDuel is the best place to get in on that action all college football playoff long. Visit FanDuel.com to get your college football playoff profit boosts every game day, including on Monday night. Okay, here comes the box score so you can look at it if your eyes can take such burning and frustration. North Carolina, historically a strong free throw shooting team. And that's been true multiple years of the Hubert Davis era. In fact, I could go back and tell you really quick at FanDuel, the first year of the Hubert Davis era, Carolina is 30th in the nation, 76.4%. The second year, even when Carolina missed the NCAA tournament, 88th in the nation, 74.2%. The year they were a 1 seed, 38th in the nation, 75.9%. Last season, Carolina, 74.1%. So each year of the Hubert Davis era, Carolina has been at least 74% every year until now, when the Carolina Tar Heels are shooting 67.4% as a team from the free throw line. That's 316th in the nation. They're only 365. So the Tar Heels are in the bottom 50 in the entirety of Division I. And like, you hate to say it, because as bad as the defense was both today and Wednesday night against Stanford, defense and everything, had Carolina simply made, let's call it 75% of their free throws, they win both those basketball games. Stamp it, mark it. And yes, you would be like, gosh, what's happening with the defense? Oh, well, we won it. And it's like, it covers a world of sins, because 16-2 feels wildly different than 14-4. Carolina doesn't beat Michigan State. They don't beat SMU, even if they make their free throws. But here's the thing. Wednesday at Stanford, Carolina was 20 of 32, 62.5% in a game they lost by 5. You simply you missed 12. You make even half more of those that you missed, and you win that basketball game. If you just make 6 more of those. Today, Carolina shoots an even worse 60.7%. They're 17 of 28 from the free throw line. I can even tell you in real time, I know there's one game this season where they were under 60%. That was the Radford game where they missed, I think, 18 free throws, if I remember correctly. But let me look where this game ranks in the season in terms of terrible free throw percentage. Yes, this is, I apologize. That Radford game, even though they missed 18, they made 31. So, gosh, 49 free throw attempts. The game where they were 53.8% was the Ohio State game, 60% against Kentucky. And today's, what did I say it was? 60.7% is the third worst percentage of the season. Again, I know the final score, Carolina loses by 6, but they got back into it, down to 3, down to 4 points. Had they made 5 of those 11 that they missed, they win this basketball game. So yes, and we'd continue to harp on the defense. Absolutely we would. But it wouldn't matter. The defense could still be so bad, but as long as Carolina had made their free throws at a 75% clip, they win. And 75% isn't crazy. You guys, absolutely bad. Here's another thing that continues to confound me. You might remember that in both the SMU games and in the SMU and Wake Forest games, we looked at Caleb Wilson only getting 5 combined field goal attempts in the second half of those 2 games. And we wondered how that would be against Stanford. Well, much better. He got all sorts of second half attempts, looked really good. That's what you want to see. It was 3 for 3, like right out of the gate. In this game today, it happened yet again. In totality in the second half, Caleb had 6 field goal attempts. Of course, one of those was that desperation 3 with like 3 seconds left. So let's say that Caleb Wilson had 5 field goal attempts in this game. Other than that desperation 3, you ready for this? Caleb's last field goal attempt before that came with 10 minutes and 19 seconds to go. So basically, yes, he had some free throws in that final 10 minutes and 19 seconds. But in terms of field goal attempts that are counted, taking away that 3-pointer, Caleb Wilson did not attempt a field goal for the final quarter of this basketball game. And down the stretch, when Carolina cut it to 4, and you're trying to make a comeback, here's who took Carolina's shots. All right, from the time they got to 4, 77-73, missed jumper, Seth Trimble. Free throws by Seth Trimble made them both. Way to go. Missed jumper, Seth Trimble. Missed 3-pointer, Seth Trimble. Missed 3-pointer, Henry Vasar. And then Henry hit that 3, and then the desperation 3 by Caleb. Obviously, I love Seth Trimble. I think he's great. Carolina had better looks that they could have taken down the stretch there. Absolutely. There were better shots they could have found once they cut it to 4. At that point, it's just 2 possessions. And they got stops. Carolina got stops and could have cut it to 2 or 1 or even eventually taken the lead, but they didn't. It's like this team offensively, and I know the defense is so bad, but hear me on this. This team offensively so often just settles for trying to attack one-on-one, which is mind-boggling because they're so good at sharing the basketball, which they did again today. What was it? 16 assists on 26 made baskets. That's over 50%. But yet in some of those crunch time moments, hear this, because you don't have a lead point guard that's doing it well, you don't get what you need out of those actions. Think about somebody that was able to cut up the defense, get it in, drop it off for Wilson or Vasar for a dunk or whatever it is, but it's not there. Now, Carolina tried to do that because for the first time all season, Kyan Evans comes off the bench. For the game, he was scoreless in 10 minutes. That's it from Kyan Evans. All he did, let me look at his total. Kyan Evans, 10 minutes, 2 turnovers, 1 assist. That's it. Missed 2 shots. Both of them were 3s. Who starts in his place? Derek Dixon. Something we've just been saying. Look, what do you got to lose at this point? Things are already starting to fall apart. So Derek Dixon starts for the first time in his career. For the game, 5 of 11 from the field, 4 of 8 from 3, include, man, that 3 from the corner as the shot clock expired. I mean, multiple of his 4 threes were just came at critical crunch time moments. Tied a career high with those 14 points, 1 rebound, had 3 assists, 2 turnovers, 1 steal in 30 minutes of play. He was +5, which was second best in the game for Carolina, behind, of course, Caleb Wilson, who was a +6. So we got what we wanted. Carolina adjust, just trying stuff. That's at some level. Thank you. I just want to see Carolina attempting different things. But the problem becomes, yet again, there's not the guy to do it at that end of game moment. Had they had that, Carolina probably gets a nice, easy look for a Wilson or a Vasar there, and that's tough. Now, despite that lineup flip, Cal gets off to a 7-0 start in this game. Carolina looks bad. They looked broken. They come back to tie it up, get it. It's like this weird thing where Carolina would push back. They ultimately tie at 10, so go on a 10-3 run after getting behind 7-0. But then Cal starts pushing away. They get to a 14-point lead at 29-15, which was the high for a while. Carolina gets it all the way back down to 5 at 31-26, but then Cal just the floodgates open. And it doesn't make any sense. Now, part of that is the vast majority of people missed the first however long of this game because I don't understand in this day and age where you can find anything streaming and make it happen, how the ineptitude from ESPN to say down in the bottom corner, hey, this game is streaming on ACC Network Extra. And it wasn't. It clearly, now some people were able to find it here or there, but because of the overtime game between, BC and Syracuse before, it's nowhere to be found. Mind-boggling how we cannot figure that out. And, I think the joke is probably going to be, well, good thing you didn't have to watch those first several minutes of the game because it was atrocious. Fair. But come on, man. It's got to be better than that. All right, you guys, more to unpack. I see 8 gajillion comments over from you guys, so I want to hit on a couple of those. Let's see what you all have to say, and we'll do that to wrap the show. Coming up in just a second. Okay, I can guess that a lot of this is going to be fire Hubert Davis, so we'll probably scoot by those for now. Bigger conversations for other days. Yeah, a lot of just, I don't know what to say. Derek, you're with me, bro. Derek Pereira says, in the words of Isaac, what are we doing? And man, I don't know. I'd love to know. And the Carolina defense, started to find their way, but it's too little, too late, and that's not going to do it. But Derek also comes back around and says, and I'm so glad you pointed this out, Derek, Zayden High came in and scored a few good baskets, but has taken some bad threes. I thought Zayden High gave Carolina a nice little lift in the first half. I think he scored 6 points. Let's go find it. Zayden High, 6 points. He was 3 of 4 in the first half there, one of which was an offensive rebound and put back. Now, there was a couple bugaboos that reared their head of why we don't see Zayden High get more time. Did miss 2 threes. It's one of those, hey, buddy, you're open for, and I know Zayden High can hit threes. I'm not trying to say he can't, but that's not the shot Carolina wants as they're trying to work their way back. Also misses 2 free throws there at the free throw line, and that was unfortunate. Carolina was minus 13 while Zayden was in the game. But I'm with Derek. He helped in the first half, gave some good energy minutes as he does, but also took some bad shots. And so that is an issue there. Galeth Knox says, keep your unicorns and rainbows to yourself for this reaction, Isaac. Well, I don't think you've seen any unicorns or heard any rainbows on this one. I am, you all know, glass half full. Isaac is happy-go-lucky kind of guy, but this ain't it. Things have to change. It's bad because as Michael Fields says here, wasting Caleb Wilson's 1 year with the team. And that's where it really, really frustratingly is headed in that direction. And the same is true of Henry Vasar. The same is true of Seth Trimble's senior year. But there is this reality where if we zoom out, can we zoom out for a second? Carolina has lost 3 of their last 4. For those of you that are athletes, for those of you that have played on teams, there are stretches of this nature over the course of a season. And I'm not going to defend anything that's happened. It's been bad. But sometimes you have stretches through a season where everything is falling apart and you can't figure things out. Because take away these 4 games, because even the Wake Forest game, if we're honest, felt like a loss, right? So this 4-game stretch, rule it out, and outside of the Michigan State game, you felt good about where things are. But you can't do that because this 4-game stretch, including the Wake win, are part of the narrative of this season. And so long-term, Carolina hosts Notre Dame Wednesday. Then they got to go to Virginia a week from today. And I'm telling you right now, that could be a blowout. Virginia, I've been saying it all week, is playing as the second best team in the ACC right now. But why I fast forward there is because after those 2 games, Carolina has a week off as they did between SMU and Wake. Now, between SMU and Wake, it did not feel like they got much figured out because the Wake game and then these 2 subsequent games have felt every bit like that SMU game felt. But if Carolina can survive this week, beat Notre Dame, they should. Virginia, I don't know. But after that, you've got an opportunity, you've got a week off to put some things in place. Do you continue to run more of this trap? Because that feels like it's been successful. Now, you don't want to just do it over and over and over because teams figured out, but it's something you could do. But Carolina, I'm not concerned yet about NCAA tournament, but it could be careening in that direction, right? Like if things don't turn around in a hurry, which outside of the final 8 minutes here and a couple stretches here and there of this game, it could head in that direction in a quick hurry. I'm not there yet. North Carolina firmly still in the NCAA tournament field, but their seed is falling fast. Now, what is gone? I don't see a world now, unless you rattle off a whole bunch of straight wins in a row down the stretch here, where Carolina is a top 4 seed. Now, probably your best hope from an NCAA tournament standpoint is playing for a 5 to 8 or 9 seed. That's what you're looking for. And that's the crazy thing in. Oh, man. Derek Tyson asking a lot of the same things. And says this: it might be getting to the point where Kyan Evans shouldn't see the court. I wish Isaiah Dennis was healthy. Yeah, it is mind-boggling with Kyan Evans, who, like, it's almost the Cade Tyson effect, where Cade Tyson was phenomenal at Belmont, came to Carolina and looked like a lost little puppy. And then thankfully for him, I love it, man. He's absolutely tearing it up at Minnesota. Kyan Evans, around this time last year, found his groove at Colorado State. The Rams got crazy hot in the last couple months of the season and looked really good. Now, part of that is he was playing alongside Nick Clifford, benefiting from that. And I don't know if this is going to be a wake-up call for Kyan Evans. I don't know if it's going to be demoralizing for Kyan Evans. Being demoted to the bench today certainly didn't turn into like, wow, he came in off the bench and was blazing. No, quite frankly and unfortunately, came in off the bench and it was bad. So there is that. And so I fully expect that Derek Dixon will start again Wednesday against Notre Dame. I think that should continue, and we'll see what else happens. Carolina didn't switch back to Luka Bogovat, so it was Kyan Evans, Seth Trimble, and then Stevenson, Wilson, Vasar, 3, 4, and 5. So we'll see that. And Melinda, our friend Melinda Dolphin, asks kind of what I was saying a minute ago: is full court press our answer to the season? I think you have to utilize it. Knowing what we've seen from Coach Davis in his 4+ seasons, because like Coach Rob has been begging for Carolina to go full court press for 2 or 3 years now, right? For regular listeners of the show, you know that to be true. Coach Davis has not shown a willingness to utilize press proactively. For my money's worth, it's always been reactively. And here's what I mean by that. Carolina has gone to this with a little more consistency only when they've been in a trouble spot. They'll show occasionally like a possession or two of some press, but maybe it's token press where they fall back or just off of the make of a free throw or something like that. But they have not proactively, consistently used it to get ahead in a game, or when things are, it's usually like what we saw last year when Carolina was down double-digit points, or today. That's when it's shown up. And so I again would love to see it be a proactive thing to make that happen. So there is that. There's something to be said. A couple people say, hey, I love that Carolina didn't give up. They fought back. And yes, nice to see the effort. But we are 18 games into this season. We saw the lack of defense critically in the first half and in the first 10-ish minutes of the second half. That effort should be there from the get-go. That defensive lock-in ability should not have to take you being in a 20-point hole to draw that out of you. From the tip, you got to be running and pressing and going. It's insanity. Well, you guys, more to get to, which we will certainly do on Monday's show. One thing you need to know is earlier today, Jackson Watkins and I recorded an interview. Jackson Watkins, a walk-on Carolina, for Hubert Davis's first 2 years, so he was part of that Final Four run, ending Coach K's career. What's cool is Jackson has written a book called Dream On. I'm actually going to drop that episode tomorrow, so you can have some content for Sunday while you're driving to church or hanging out with your family or something like that. But could be a little extra content of some happier times if you don't want to listen to Monday's show where we unpack this game even more and have our shady stat of the game. So that'll drop again on Sunday. Would love for you to check out that conversation with Jackson. We actually, it's a longer kind of extended interview. We did about 45 minutes or so. And so a great opportunity for you to even get more content over the weekend. I'm trying to just do that more regularly, trying to find more and more content for you guys, because I know you love it and appreciate it. All right. Tough one. Frustrating. Deflating. Carolina is broken right now. I don't care about, sure. Congrats on the final 8 minutes. It's a moral victory and nothing more. That's not going to satisfy the team. They're not going to be happy about that, and neither should we. But we can say, how can you build on that? Can you build on the success of those final minutes? I don't know. We'll find out. I'm not encouraged, and I'm not hopeful. So I guilty until proven innocent right now is where I'm at. All right, you guys, if you haven't subscribed to the show on video and audio, do it now so you don't miss a second of Locked On Tar Heels. If you haven't joined our Everydayers Club, that link's in the show notes, as is the link for our Discord, which was going bonkers during this basketball game, both from the downtrodden to the holy cow, they're coming back. Oh, it didn't happen. So come join us in there. We'd love to see you. Also, it's always a great day to be a Tar Heel. Yes, even today. We'll talk again tomorrow on the Jackson Watkins interview, and then on Monday with our regular show as we unpack more of this game. But until then, peace.